A very warm welcome to all the respected teachers who have joined me today to discuss a few things, a few concepts about counseling and mentoring students. Hello, I am Dr. Anjali Kedari. I teach psychology in Aveda Inamdar Senior College, a reputed college in Pune city that falls under Savitribai Phule Pune University. It is an A grade college, and we have a vibrant counseling cell where we are able to, I'm very happy to say, able to come to the aid of many students around our campus. So, counseling and mentoring students is important at many levels. First of all, our students are the most important stakeholders in our professional lives. We do form a very personal bond with many of our students. Many of them remember us throughout their lives as an important part, who has guided them and who has nurtured them for so long. Counseling and mentoring students is also very important from the perspective of NAC visits or from the perspective of local committee visits in terms of not only explaining to the visitors as to what we do, but showing records. So today I would like to speak a little about the process of counseling, the process of mentoring, the ethics involved, and to some extent records, how to maintain records of counseling and mentoring students. So let's go to the next slide. Now, youth and mental health has been a very important concern for nations all around the world. Our nation and our government as well as UGC is also concerned about the mental health of our youth, of our students. So there are two important dimensions that we can see in helping students maintain their mental health. One is counseling, which is you can see uh, primarily aimed at reducing problems and helping students to cope effectively. Now, please remember in counseling, we are not going to solve the problems for students. Rather, we are going to hear them out, we are going to give them a safe space to express themselves, and we are going to help them identify the various patterns in their thinking, in their emotions, or in their behaviors that could potentially be harmful to them. We are going to help them to feel empowered to change those patterns. This is very important. By empowering students, we are going to help them to cope or adjust to their day to day, to adapt to their day to day challenges. Alright, that is the only aim that we are going to have for counseling at college level. We do not need a highly specialized training in psychology that many psychologists and psychiatrists already have. What we are going to do is we are going to give psychological first aid to our students. But more about this in the next slides. Now I'm going to talk about mentoring students. Over here, it's the other end of the spectrum. You can see that the arrows are in two different directions because in mentoring students, we identify the talent in students and we help them to reach their potential, to reach their best. So we help them to maximize their talent. And as teachers, we proactively help them to reach their potential. So that is a very important difference in counseling and mentoring. Please bear that in mind. Now, counseling, as you can see in this beautiful picture, is a mutually satisfying relationship that happens in a safe space. All right, it is a helping relationship where we give little uh, tips to our students to maintain their first aid, to maintain their uh, levels of adjustment, to maintain their mental health. The person seeks help when there is disruption of normal functioning. How does a person know that he or she needs help? So they cannot go about their day-to-day activities, There is a break in their eating and sleeping patterns. Either they're eating too much or too less. They sleep too much or too less. Their performance, academic performance or sports related performance, extracurricular activities related performance lowers or is disrupted. They get into fights, or the student is rude, or they have breakdown in relationships, fights with friends or other types of relationships that they have. The person gets very emotional without there being a strong reason. They respond in a particular way. So maybe this person has not really understood that he or she is in suffering from some problem, but their responses show us that they need some kind of help. All right, so they are emotional, they're worried, anxious, they're angry or sad. Sometimes you see that the student is very confused. They are not able to pay attention. They cannot make appropriate choices. What to do. It's just this constant worry in their minds. In that case, the person has issues with thinking, right? And then the person has this feeling that I cannot cope with this stress. It's too much for me. Right? In that situation, the need is felt for counseling. Alright, please understand that this slide that I'm going to talk about, we are all teachers wise enough and experienced enough. We are experts enough by the particular age and stage that we have come to have gone through many of these problems ourselves, to have observed these problems with our, when we were in colleges, our friends, school friends, college friends, etc., or our family members. So we have identified and we know that we have a common wisdom which can help us to deal with these problems. But counseling is a little different. Over here, we are not going to preach. We are not going to teach. We are going to hold the person emotionally and mentally to feel safe. So the first goal is to help the person feel safe. We are going to help them to identify the various choices that they have, the various options that they have. So, the five main areas that as teachers we are going to come across in counseling, I have identified on this slide. So, please see them. They can be academic issues, career related issues, personal, family, social, and health. These are issues which we are going to be touching upon in our day to day academic counseling that we will be having in our colleges. However, substance abuse and mental disorders are not going to be dealt with teachers. We will need specialists, we will need experts in psychology, in psychiatry to help us help so we will be guiding our students to go to them, and we are not going to be touching these issues in our counseling at all. So the five blue areas I will now explain. While explaining, you will also see how we keep our records over here. But before going on, I would like to stress the point of confidentiality. So one is no direct interference in terms of preaching and teaching and giving big lectures to the students or comparing them to others who are successfully dealing with the situation. No, the focus is on the child, the student. The focus is on accepting the student. The focus is on giving positive regard, no matter how messed up you think they are made their lives into. You're going to tell them, "I'm there with you. You are there. I value you. I will help you by being there with you." So that is very important. And the most important is confidentiality. The student has trusted us with their most intimate, serious, personal problems, feelings, thoughts. We should never betray that trust. So confidentiality is also extremely important. If you feel you cannot maintain confidentiality, if you feel that you cannot help the child without trying to rearrange their lives, but the problems are so close to your own experiences that you cannot maintain detachment, then please guide that student to another teacher or guide the student to get professional help. Right? So confidentiality, even while keeping records, even while keeping files, is very important. Of course, confidentiality means we will not discuss the students' issues with our colleagues, maybe over a cup of coffee or tea, or in terms of we get sometimes so shocked or so overwhelmed, or we feel that, oh, this student has been so studious and deep down there are so many problems. Even out of humanity, we like to share them, but we are going to totally avoid that. So, this is the most important part about counseling that I would like to share. Let's go to the records. Now over here you will see that there is name, date of birth, address, contact number, email address, age. These are details of the student. The date of first visit is the most important for us in terms of keeping records which are trustworthy. Alright. However, right now, even if I have included these parts over here, in your college, you will be just writing the number over here that you would like to give to that student. So let's say that the student is the 51st student who has come to you, write 51 on that. Alright. And these details you will write under 51 on a separate piece of page in a notebook or in a file and keep it under lock and key under your control all the time. The rest of the details where the name is not there, the age or any identifying factors are not there, the rest of the details can be shared with the committee that visits or with your other departments. If you have to give any kind of analysis, then you can make use of these. But remember that these details, these and these, the below ones, should never be together. Alright, so let's say these only the number of the person and the visitor number and the date of first visit should be there on the file where you have made a note of these. Now let's see, I had in the initial earlier slide talked about the problems, the academic problems, etc. So what kind of problems do the students come with? They are not exhaustive. This list is not exhaustive, it is indicative. So what we are doing over here is academic and career related issues. So confusion about subject choices, goal setting, difficulties with studying. So in terms of reading skills, writing skills, performance or exam anxiety, worries about the appropriate career option, you can put a tick mark. Sometimes students come to us with just one problem. So, ma'am, I don't know what specialization to take. I don't know what subject combinations to take. So you can put a tick mark over here. However, you will go on to ask about other issues like what exactly seems to be the problem with the subject combinations that you're confused with. Is it that you find it difficult to complete the paper or something? Is it exam writing skills? Is it understanding related issues? So over here you will ask them. Then personal issues, you will ask them, so how does it affect you? And then they will say, it makes me feel inferior when I can't solve math sums or something like that, or I feel low on self-confidence. Actually, confusion about subject choice may just be the presenting problem, and the rest of the problems are over here. They are that the confusion is about is the tip of the iceberg. So you will need to talk about these in a conversational manner, not like, okay, tell me this tick mark, that tick mark. No, not like that. However, in a conversational manner, you will touch upon these particular issues. Alright, so personal issues like inferiority, I feel very inferior, I don't feel confident or bold like others do, I have problems with concentration, self-blaming, like all the time I feel like I've done a lot of wrong things. I have not lived up to my parents' expectations, self-blaming, guilt, difficulties in controlling anger or financial worries, and many more. If there are more, you can write them at the back of this page. Then there are social issues. There's communication difficulties, difficulties in maintaining the relations with others, teasing, rejection from friends or others. Health issues are there. Now over here I come to a very important point. Many times students come up with problems like I am so confused, I can't concentrate in class. But the underlying issue could be some physical deficiency, the nutritional deficiency or health related issues. So anytime when the student is having problems of, my heart beats so fast, I feel scared all the time, we need to Ask them to go to a physician and sort out the health related issues. The physician will advise them to get maybe hemoglobin or other tests done, the normal tests, normal the pathological tests, which are there, the hemogram, the weight, etc. Find out if there is any B12 deficiency, any nutritional deficiency, sometimes D3, vitamin D deficiency is there. So once we rule out those deficiencies, that there is a physical balance in the child, in the student, then we talk about the other things. Both, because most of the times our issues are psychosomatic, so both psychological aspects and physical aspects go hand in hand. No matter sometimes how much we work on the child's emotions, we help them to build their self confidence by giving them small exercises, suggestions, etc. The effects are not seen because sometimes it is related to the physical weakness that the student is facing. So let us work with physicians. You can advise them. You can advise them to not go in for very, expensive tests, etc. But we need to rule that out. Please remember, sometimes we work on the students and are not getting results. We may blame psychology. Psychology is hocus pocus. It's not that. Sometimes it's hand in hand. It is going on with the physical part. So we will have to balance that out too. So please remember that. Again, I would like to make a point over here. Many teachers say that aate jate, coming, going, in the corridors, students come to us with problems. We solve their problems, and on the playground, students approach us and we help them. But what is important is to do it in an objective, unbiased manner. So whenever a student approaches you, say, "Sir, I have this problem." Please listen to him for a few minutes, even if you're on your way for a lecture or wherever you have been doing it for long, but that is not counseling. That is just giving the person some empathy, sympathy, etc. Ask that person, that student, to meet you after a particular time when he and you both will have enough time to discuss in detail. And then you will bring this record sheet out. Then you will have a nice normal conversation. So today, the student has approached you. Talk to him a little, listen to him a little wherever you are, and then ask him to meet you in a proper place where you will have your mobile phones away, where you will have other teachers knowing that you're doing something, so they will keep away. Alright, other responsibilities, no thoughts of meetings. Give the student complete and undivided attention only when that help will be productive. Only when the time that you have spent, the energy that you have spent will actually help the student. So this record sheet should be kept handy, and you should, or in this manner I'm saying, so in a conversational manner you can just note down the various issues that the student is talking of. Tell him in the beginning that I will make a few notes so that I will be able to remember this later, whether the next time we meet. Also, this will not be seen by any other teacher. Your name and all I have written separately. This notebook or this page or this file is only for maintaining a record so that I will remember the future for my reference and nothing else. So this is very important. Now the next part in this, if you see, is behavioral observation. Generally this is what psychologists are trained for. But what we are going to do is, we are going to put a tick mark on rapport, concentration, mood, affect and speech. Why? I'll just explain. Was the connection that the two of you have, the shared understanding, established easily? Was it established with difficulties, or was it not established at all? Sometimes the student has shown a lot of anger and you have called him for counseling. And you're saying something and that student is saying something else. There is no rapport established, no connection. The concentration when you're talking and the person himself is talking, is it adequate? Or they're losing thread, or they're losing you while listening to you. They're looking here and there. Are they distracted? Right, so this is very important. The mood, is it I'm happy or no? Whatever one important word comes, you can make note of this. Affect, the emotions, nervous, worried, restless, anxious, distressed, depressed, and the intensity of it. Am I mildly nervous? Am I moderately nervous, or am I severely nervous? There can be several tick marks that you can put over here. And the speech, whether it is spontaneous and relevant, or it is non-spontaneous, you have to prod him and wait, and then they'll start and stop sometimes, non-spontaneous speech, and sometimes it is irrelevant. Now, why is this important? It is important if the rapport was not established or established with difficulties, the concentration was distractible, the mood was totally low, and there is moderate to severe affect. They are nervous also, worried also, or they're too restless or they're too distressed. The speech is non-spontaneous and irrelevant. If this is the case, you will not see the student again. You will definitely refer them to the psychology department, counseling cell, mental health center, or for outside for professional help. Over here, then you will have to involve the parents as well as the higher authorities like the principal of the college, because this may be an indication of mental illnesses. All right, so we need to, or drug abuse, either of the two. So we need to be careful in the behavioral observation. If it is established easily, adequate, mild, spontaneous, relevant, then you don't need to worry about it. The child is safe, the student is safe in your hands, and with a little bit of inputs, he or she will be able to work out their issues. So they can work. You can give them such students information about study skills, time management, goal setting, reading and relaxation. You don't need to refer them to the counseling cell, and you will put your signature over here and your name over here. This is progress monitoring. So this is about follow-up sessions that you take. Even aate jate you ask the person, how are you today? Are you better? They say yes. Put a tick mark. Come back to your department, to your file, and put a tick mark over there. Maybe you don't need a follow-up session. The current intensity level, so that day you were feeling really very low. Are you better today? I'm moderate. Okay, I'm feeling better. Not much, sir, but a little bit. Then you can write this. I'm feeling overall, yes, 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 I'm happy. Then put yes. Academic status, personal. Maybe in the first follow up itself, all this you may not be able to put a tick mark on, but slowly you will be able to report the progress of the student. Now, don't worry, not all students are going to come for follow up sessions. I know all of us are very, very busy, but still, just asking them will give you and the student a sense of closure. It's very important to know that the person has not been left off just like this after the first session. Now, these are certain basic counseling skills. I would strongly suggest that there are many institutions which offer short term courses that you could look into to make your sessions more productive. So, reflecting and paraphrasing, summarizing questions, what kind of questions to ask, what to focus on, rapport building, or bringing back the students' focus to the this session. Rapport building, silence, attending. So, when to keep quiet and when to show involvement. All these basic skills can be developed, and they are very, very very, very motivating. They are very helpful for us also in our other areas of life. Okay, so this is mentoring. Let's see a short video on mentoring. While it takes time to load, there it is. We will talk about why there should be mentoring. Let me see if it is working. Otherwise, we will go back to our PPT. So, a mentor is a role model who offers guidance and support to another person, the mentee. In academics, mentoring is a relationship tailored to the goals, needs, and learning styles of the students. It is student driven, not teacher driven. In mentoring, there is a commitment to the goals of scholarly enterprise on the mentor's part and a desire to succeed on the mentee's part. The types of mentoring. Before I go that, let me see if the link has just started. Yes, it has. So let us watch it. There are many people who wonder why put in so much of effort in mentoring. That's a wonderful video. I hope that the link worked and we were able to go through it. The types of mentors, coming to that. There are student teacher collaboration related to the academic activities. So we can have students for research guidance. We can nurture students to top the universities, etc. When they show special skills for studying and exam writing. We have peer mentoring. This is also very, very important, and this can be done for foreign students or academically weak students. We have industry academia mentoring, where industry mentors our students for skill development. And very important is alumni mentoring, where alumni give our students guidance about which colleges maybe to go to, further courses to do, or they give them updates about the latest happenings in the field. Transparency and clarity of purpose. Why, what, and how should be clear for both the mentor and the mentee. So, in ethics, very important to focus so that we will not be able to face any issues from any side, either the student side or the teacher side. So why exactly are we doing this mentoring? It has to be clear to the student and the teacher both. There has to be transparency. There has to be very clear agenda for each meeting mentoring that we have. This session has to leave the person feeling okay, it was a productive session. There were gains on and progress on both sides. There has to be a time limit. There has to be mindless chatter or vague discussion. This will happen when there is clarity and there are clear, measurable goals. The discussion should be clear, specific and relevant to the topic. Formality and personal boundaries should be maintained. There should be proper use of personal space from both sides. If the student is showing any sign of discomfort, you ask him or her what is that the student is being feeling uncomfortable about. Students should be allowed to withdraw from the mentoring program at any stage without penalty. The personal closeness developed, because of course there is personal closeness developed when we share so much, should not be misinterpreted by the student. And the teacher should also be able to withdraw from this at any given time, because students might misinterpret and take wrong signals from our activities. We should help students with goal setting, with getting a merit rank in terms of aiming for academic excellence, SWOT analysis, mentoring sessions should be maintained. We should be able to give them reference materials and notes, examination writing skills should be there, and we should help them for anxiety and emotional regulation. Thank you. I hope that you have understood the briefing that I wanted to give you on the issue of counseling and mentoring students. I also wish you all the best in all the endeavors that you take up. Please leave any comments or questions in the link given below, in the window given below, and please subscribe to the YouTube channel where you see this video. Thank you so much and best of luck.